Actually, you have already know what do you mean by simultaneous equation system and how you identify the system and what are the exact condition needed for solving the model. Today what I will do, I will basically give some example from the real life situation to let you know how the model works and how do you actually identify the parameters of the model and what are the necessary conditions so that you end up with a meaningful solution. Now, in the last class I have discussed the augmented Dickey-Fuller test to carry out the test for unit root, and I have also discussed the preliminary version of augmented Dickey-Fuller test, which is known in the literature as Dickey-Fuller test. And there are in the some literature are available on unit root test. For example, Phillips and Perron have developed a more comprehensive theory of unit root non-stationarity. The tests are similar to ADF test, but they incorporate an automatic correction to the Dickey-Fuller procedure to allow for autocorrelated residual. The test usually give the same conclusion as that of the ADF test. Now, come to the main criticisms of the test. The main criticisms there is that the power of the test is low if the process is stationary, but with a root close to non-stationarity boundary. For example, the tests are poor at deciding if phi equal to 1 or phi equal to 0.95, especially with small sample size. If the true data generating process is, say for example, yt equal to 0.95 yt minus 1 plus ut, then the null hypothesis of a unit root should be rejected. One way to get around this is to use a stationarity test as well as the unit root test. We have looked at H0 yt is a stationary versus H1 yt is non-stationarity, so that by default under the null the data will appear stationarity. Another test which is available in the literature is the KPSS test, and these tests are also very useful, and so one can apply KPSS test for checking stationarity of the data as well. Now, in a univariate, as I have already discussed, in a univariate non-stationarity, the time series yt is said to be integrated of order d id if it is d minus 1th, if its d minus 1th difference is non-stationary, but dth difference is stationary. So, that basically implies you have to take dth time differences in order to obtain stationarity. Now, if yt is non-stationary, but delta yt equal to I minus byt is stationary, then the series is integrated of order 1. So, yt follows I1, but delta yt follows I0. So, after defining the concept of integrated series, let us have an idea of co-integration. In most of the cases, if we combine two variables which are I1, then the combination will also be a I1. More generally, if we combine variables with differing orders of integration, the combination will have an order of integration equal to the largest, that is, if xit follows I running from 1 to k, so that we can have k variables each integrated of order di, and you can take the weighted average of those integrated series, and then Zd will be integrated of maximum I di, and Zi is a linear combination of the k variables xi. Now, rearranging, we can get xit, x1 it as in sum of the coefficients of all integrated of order series xi's, and accordingly define the coefficients and the term, and this is just a regression. But the disturbance term of this equation have very undesirable property. Zd prime is not stationary and is autocorrelated if all the xt's are I1. So, we want to ensure that the disturbances are I0 and what circumstances will be the case. So, this gives an idea of co-integration. Two series are said to be, two or more series is said to be co-integrated if you have this regression of yt, x2 and x3, where each of these yt, xt are I1 variable, and if you obtain the residual, that is ut equal to yt minus beta 1 beta 2 x2 t minus beta 3 x3 3, and ut should be integrated of order 0 if the variable of the model are co-integrated. So, in order to have the co-integration, what we need to ensure, suppose you have 3 variable yt, xt and x2 and x3, and all of these are integrated of order 1, then you regress yt on x2 and x3 and obtain the residual yt minus beta 1 minus beta 2 x2 minus beta 3 x3. Now, check whether ut should follow an integrated series of order 0. And if the variable are integrated of G order 0, then and only then you can say that the series are co-integrated. So, now consider the case of 2 variable model. In a 2 variable case, if yt is integrated of order 1 and xt is also integrated of order 1, then yt and xt will be said to be co-integrated if ut equal to yt minus beta xt is integrated of order 0. So, basically in order to test for co-integration, you have to apply for unit root in 3 steps. First of all, you have to test for whether yt follows I1. This will be carried out by performing a unit root test on yt. Then you have to test for whether xt follows an I1. This will also be carried out by applying unit root test on xt. Then if you find that yt and xt are co-integrated, are integrated of order 1, then you just regress yt and xt, regress yt on xt and have the residual ut equal to ut hat equal to yt minus beta hat xt, and then apply unit root test on the variable ut. Now, if you find that ut series follows a I0 series, that is it is integrated of order 0, then you say that the yt series and xt series are co-integrated. Now, come to the general case, you consider m cross 1 vector time series of yt and another series. Let us have the idea of co-integration for the general case, and m by 1 vector of time series yt is said to be co-integrated of order dd, where 0 is less than b is less than d if each of the component of yit is id, but sum of the linear combination of the series y is id minus b for non-zero constant vector alpha. Alpha is the co-integrating vector or the long run parameter and it is not unique. The most common case where d equal to b equal to 1 that I have already discussed. Now, if you support the idea of co-integration, that basically implies the series yt and xt move together, and in many time series are non-stationary. Now, note that yt follows I1 and xt follows I1. So, both yt series and xt series are non-stationary, but you are combining the two non-stationary series in such a way the resultant series are stationary series, so that the residual of this regression ut follows I0. Now, in many time series you find non-stationary series, but non-stationary series move together. If variables are co-integrated, it means that a linear combination of them will be a stationary series. and a co-integrating relationship may also be may also be known as long run relationship. So, if you support the idea of co-integration, or if you support the hypothesis of co-integration, suppose you have co-integrating relationship between yt and xt, then you say that both yt series and xt series are integrated of order 0, and that is they are stationary series. So, that basically implies yt series and xt series move together, and you can find some equilibrium relationship between yt and xt. Now, there are many economic examples of co-integration. For example, there are co-movement between spot price and future price, and relative prices and exchange rate, equity price and dividend. So, in the literature you can find many variables which move together with one another, and you support the case of co-integration. Now, suppose you justify the existence of co-integration, and when the concept of non-stationarity was first introduced, a usual response was independently take the first differences of the series as I1 variable. Now, problem with this approach is that pure first differences model have no long run solution. For example, if we consider yt and xt, which are both I1, and then in the model we may write delta yt equal to beta times delta xt plus ut, but this collapses to nothing in the long run, and this definition of the long run that we see is where yt equal to y, xt minus or yt minus 1 is equal to y, xt equal to xt minus 1 equal to x, hence all the difference term will be 0, and delta yt equal to 0 and delta xt will be equal to 0. So, one way to get around to this problem is to use first differences and the levels terms, that is you can have delta yt as a function of delta xt plus beta 2 times yt minus gamma xt minus 1, and this term is very crucial for the error correction model, and this in the literature is known as error correction model. So, yt minus gamma xt minus 1 is the error correction term. So, for example, if you support the co-integration relationship, what do you claim? You have the long run relationship between yt and xt. In that case, if you perturb the equilibrium relationship by some exogenous shocks, since there exists equilibrium relation, that basically implies it will ultimately come back to equilibrium, and as a result there will be some endogenous error correction to the system, and which is known in the literature error correction model. So, there will be some forces will be corrected automatically and will bring back the system to an equilibrium, because in the beginning you claim that you have an equilibrium relationship or a long run co-integrating relationship. So, yt minus 1 minus gamma xt minus 1 in the literature is known as error correction term. Provided that the yt and xt are co-integrated with co-integrating coefficient gamma, then yt minus gamma xt minus 1 will be I0, even though the constituted original yt and xt are I1. So, here you can see that you can have ordinary regression on equation 2, where delta yt is a function of delta xt and the error correction term, because all of the delta yt, delta xt as well as error correction term are of I0, integrated series of order 0. This is known as Granzer representation theorem, and the Granzer representation theorem shows that the co-integrating relationship can be expressed as a error correction model. So, what the basic idea of Granzer representation theorem? The Granzer representation theorem basically shows that if you support the idea of co-integration, then that will be represented by an error correction mechanism. That is, there will be an automatic error correction process to the system that will bring back yt and xt to the equilibrium relationship or co-integrating relationship if there occur any automatic shocks to the model. So, providing that yt and xt are co-integrated with co-integrating coefficient gamma, then yt minus gamma xt minus 1 will be I0 even though the constitution is I1. We can thus see that we can use OLS to 2. The Granzer representation theorem shows that any co-integrating relationship can be expressed as an equilibrium error correction model. So, for the k variable case, yt equal to beta 1 plus beta 2 xt minus x2 t plus beta 3 xt plus qt. So, ut will be I0 if the variables are co-integrated, and you obtain residual of the regression, and if you see that the residual of the regression follows I0, and then you say that you have a co-integrating relationship. And Engel and Granzer tabulated a new set of critical values, and hence the test is known as Engel-Granzer test. So, what are the null and the alternative hypothesis for the test and the residual for a potential co-integrating relation? H0 unit root in the co-integrating relation are residual, and H1 residual from the co-integrating relation are stationary. And you can perform Engel-Granzer the two-step method. In step 1, make sure all the individual variables are I1, then estimate the co-integrating relation by OLS, save the residual of the co-integrating relation, test these residual to ensure that they are I0, and in step 2, use the residual as one variable in the error correction model and perform the OLS regression, and this is basically the estimation of Engel-Granzer two-step methodology by applying error correction mechanism. In this lecture, I have discussed a very brief idea about the Phillips-Perron test and KPSS test, which are used to test for stationarity of the time series, that is the unit root test of the series, and then I have discussed the idea of integrated series, and then I have discussed the idea of co-integration, and both for the two variable case as well as multivariate case it will be discussed in the next classes. But in this class I have discussed the Engel-Granzer methodology of two-step co-integration, testing for two-step co-integration, and the idea of error correction mechanism, how you estimate the error correction mechanism given the estimated co-integrating relationship of the model.